Patreon member shout out. Un segundo más de vida yo. Adiós le pido que se me muero, sé de amor y se me amoro, sé de vos y que tu voz es de corazón. Todos los días adiós le pido que se me muero, sé de amor y se me amoro. Hey guys, how's it going? It is I, the real Randy Chavez. I'm coming at you today with a Veve Omi update video. Guys, if you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. I love you all. Everyone say, where's Dashy? We don't know. I can't sit in my normal spot. Something about the sun and something about me not having blinds. It's a real thing. Anyway, for those of you that do not know, the Veve has partnered with the United States Postal Service, and it is a thing that I have received no less than 60 messages on. So shout out to the community for everyone trying to keep me updated. I feel like the Arya of Sauron, nothing gets past me because I have so many people feeding me information every day. So big shout out to everyone like that. Keep it up. I love you all. So Veve welcomes the United States Postal Service. I am not going to read the whole article. I assume everybody has had it. I'm just going to do a couple of highlights, and then I'm going to do a couple of reasons why that the U.S. government needs Veve and Ecomi more than Ecomi and Veve needs the U.S. government. I will get back to that. So, with one of the most frequently visited websites in the federal government, the USPS has facilitated crucial communications and delivery services to Americans since 1792, as the ratification of the Post Office Act made the Postal Service a permanent fixture of the federal government. There are a couple of other permanent fixtures that I'm going to go over in a minute. But right now, it's 1792. A lot of this was, I think it was Ben Franklin or Thomas Jefferson. One of those two had just said, hey, listen, every other established country in the world has a way for people to talk to another across their country, across their land. The U.S. should really have one as well, and we did. We got it. Now, today, the USPS has an annual operating budget of between $71 billion and $75 billion and serves as one of the largest employers in the U.S. with more than 630,000 employees and 34,000 retail locations. Now, if I go to my photos here, right here, I can tell you that about 200, they have more debt than they get each year in revenue. They have about 250% more debt than they do get in revenue. If you figure you have 75 billion in revenue, okay, well, more than 250% of that is debt. I mean, $188 billion of debt is what the USPS has. Now, a lot of that does come from the fact that you have employees that have worked for 25 or 30 years that are retired, and they're now getting a pension. They're now getting medical coverage. Now, the government is trying to make it so that these people will be covered by Medicare to take the load off of this, but they are losing billions and billions of dollars each year. I mean, tens of billions of dollars each year, clearly, to get up to $188 billion worth of debt. I think that's more than Ford. So anyway, why is this well, it's definitely not a good thing, but why is this an opportunity for Ecomi? Why is this an opportunity more so for the U.S. government? Because this is the first digital NFT, or the first digital collectible that the government is putting out. They are doing that for the USPS first. This is kind of a trial run. Now, I know what you're saying, like Chavez, like, I see what you're saying here, but I read that next article that came out, which is where they describe that there's going to be 4 different NFTs, and there are going to be $6 blind boxes. They come out tomorrow. And if you put it all together, that only comes out to slightly less than $150,000. That's enough for maybe 2 or 3 people for a year or so. And you're right, that is not a lot of money at all. But what else could be happening? If this is just a trial run, how many more stamps are they going to release? Elvis, Christmas stamps, Jesus stamps. Oh my good golly gosh, my heckin' goodness. The religious stamps would be out of this world. Anyway, I digress. There's going to be a lot more stamps. Again, eventually, well, Chavez, not everyone's going to go for that. Not everyone's going to go for these, although they should go for these stamps because it's going to be the first appearance of any digital collectible by a government, or at least by the U.S. government. And it's, again, the first of anything, be worth oodles of cash. But outside of that, there is much more things that can happen. If they could get a Statue of Liberty, because again, owned by the U.S. government, even though it was technically a gift from the French, it is a U.S. government property. It's a thing. It's technically in New York, but although it is in New Jersey waters, which is really cool, there is a
reason why I think the Statue of Liberty is going to be the best, better than any of like, let's say like a NFT of like Air Force One, or better than an NFT of like the White House, whatever. Because if you take a look at Earth 2, you have one of the records set for prices for amount of tiles paid. Somebody paid $65,000 for the tiles around the Statue of Liberty, that make up the Statue of Liberty. And that is one person that I wish I would have gotten, because that person happens to be from South Korea, and I believe that the Statue of Liberty should stay in the hands of ownership of someone in the US, but that's just me. If they can do that with this, if they can get the Constitution, which any libertarian or any military member would love, because we swear an oath to the Constitution, and the officers appointed above us, and the president, but the military officers only swear an oath to the Constitution. They don't swear the same oath as us enlisted do. Anyway, that would be something that most everyone would want. And when Disney's talking about moments in the world, I'm sorry, if you take a look at NBA Top Shot, their NBA Top Shot moments are when LeBron's dunking, when someone's passing. When Disney's talking about moments, I think they're going to talk about, hey, here's Steamboat Willie driving his thing for a 5-second clip. Oh, hey, here's Fiona from Shrek going, like cracking making a bird explode with her voice. Those types of moments would be really cool, and I think they're going to take a page out of NBA Top Shots. If that is the case, then the U.S. government could do moments as well, partnering with Veve and Ecomi, and this type of thing would be worth billions and billions and tens of billions, and potentially in the future hundreds of billions of dollars. Now, the U.S. government is also taking a 2% hit on the, taking 2% fee of the marketplace. So any one thing that happens, they're going to get 2% of, which is fine. They got to get their share. What I mean by this is, could you imagine if, let's say, they have a moment, like CNN did a documentary on, like the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and so forth. If they can get moments from each year of each decade that everyone would want to want, Martin Luther King giving a speech, the President Barack Obama first swearing into office, the first time you see a minority president, or at least a black president, being sworn into office. Everyone and their mothers that is in the minority group, the same way we FOMO over anything Miles Morales, because it's a brown Spider-Man, is going to do that for brown. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. That moment is so special for minorities. Even if you didn't like Obama, even if you didn't, I don't want this to get political. There's something really cool about being on the same flight line as a sitting president, being able to say like, oh, hey, that president just walked down my staircase truck. Whether it's Obama, whether it's Trump, whoever it is, there's something cool about that, about saying, hey, I own this moment in history in NFT form. I don't think you guys realize how much money that could generate for the government, which, again, like, I don't necessarily want that, but I also want my friends and the people that I'm close to that happen to have worked for the USPS, still work for the USPS, I want them to receive their benefits. They were told one thing, and they should be able to go and claim that. They should be able to go and claim what they were told. Anyway, Dan Schawbell, there's a bunch of influential people that have already commented on this, Dan Schawbell being one of them, says, before you think that the United States Postal Service stamps is lame compared to a gold statue of Mickey Mouse or a Book of the Dead that you can read during Halloween, know that stamps are the most historical form of collectibles dating back to the 19th century, and many are worth way more than any NFT on Veve today. And speaking of which, Jeremy Padower, about 19 hours ago, posted on Twitter, said, quote, a collector buys a stamp collection for $92,000 just 10 years ago. It includes what he believes is the world's first stamp, the penny black, spends 3 years getting it authenticated, and on December 7th, it will go to Sotheby's with a $8 million estimate, and there are only 3 known examples of the penny black. And I will get back to Jeremy Padower in a second. Going back to Dan's posting, this is another historical moment for Veve. It is yet another massive credibility boost that USPS should choose Veve over any other platform, and it further extends Veve into an entirely new collecting niche. Stamp collecting could become cool to young people via Veve and bring generations of collectors, kids, parents, grandparents closer together. I don't know anyone personally that has collected stamps, but I will tell you that I am very familiar with nostalgia. Nostalgia is a drug. Nostalgia is something that makes you do things that you wouldn't normally do. It makes you feel and recognize, and it does not care if you're rich or you're poor or whatever. It affects most people the same way. If you are a little girl, Sally, that collected stamps with her grandmother Margaret, and you say like, oh, hey, Sally grows up, grandmother passes away, and now you're able to collect digital stamps. Maybe you don't have the time to go and collect these stamps and put them in a book and whatever, but maybe you do have time to click a button and buy a stamp for $6. Now, granted, the stamps are like 50 cents, $25, whatever they are. And so I get a couple, they're trying to sell 25-cent stamps for $6. I don't think people see it that way. I think people see it the way as, hey, I don't have to go to the post office. I don't have to do this. I don't have to. Maybe stamps.com could be an intermediary for collecting stamps, but you can go on, collect something, have fun with it, and then continue something that you and your grandma did together. I guarantee you that millions of people are going to do that. And right now, there's not going to be enough to go around. There's like 20,000 of these stamps that's going to be created for the first appearance, and that's just for Day of the Dead. There's going to be millions. There's going to be millions of these. I guarantee it. Guaranteed. This is going to make them so much money. Moving on. Dan Chabot also says the fact that Veve convinced a legacy company to do an innovative thing is also impressive. I guess you can teach an old dog new tricks. And Veve has also stated before, whatever you're a fan of or like to collect or didn't think you'd like to collect but now do, we've got you taken care of. Again, that was from Veve. So yeah, a federal government agency that is not really comfortable with crypto, at least until they get theirs, is partnering with Veve. So say goodbye to any like, oh, hey, you think they're gonna haul us back because of this, and this? No, they're not. In my opinion, they are not. Probably best to hodl. Yes, it is a large business enterprise operated by the federal government. It is I think one of the largest, if not the largest. Dan Chabot also mentions these mint sizes seem high right now, but it is not with millions of users in the future. What he means by that is when millions of people come in, there's only 20,000 of these, at least for the first appearances. Speaking of influential people, Jeremiah Aoyang said the USPS is launching stamps as NFTs. What could be NFT'd next related to the US government? Commemorative coins from the US Mint. I do know a bunch of coin collectors. A lot of people in the high-end collecting community kind of tend to know each other, even if they are someone is from coins and they're going into Pokemon and say, well, you know what? I don't like how new Pokemon is. Imagine that. Thinking Pokemon is new. It's like almost 30 years old. It's 20-something years old. So yeah, they would pay a lot for it. Jeremiah Aoyang says historical documents from the Library of Congress. God, that would be bananas. Images of parks from U.S. National Park Service. That would also be bananas. NASA images of key moments in history. And again, when he's talking about moments, wouldn't it be cool if like the launch of the Challenger, although that's probably not the best one to go because of the Challenger disasters. That's probably not the best one. But just stuff of, man walking on the moon, Louis Armstrong, like that type of stuff from the government. I said Louis Armstrong, that's my apologies. I meant Neil Armstrong. From the government. Again, if we have SpaceX and they're partnered with NASA, that's here's just another way that we could partner with SpaceX or partner with the US government and they have NASA. NASA's like, not even 1% of the budget, but SpaceX gets part of that. Just, there's so many different things. Hill says, what else? Everyone chime in. And then we also have the US Postal Service commenting on this tweeting, quote, thanks to our partnership with Veve Official, you can now collect stamp art digitally. Today, Day of the Dead stamp art was launched. Check it out. Hashtag Day of the Dead. And remember when I was talking about before, Jeremy Padower talking about that penny black stamp? So that was about 19 hours ago, as of the making of this video. And then suddenly today, it comes out that we're partnering the USPS with stamps. Well, what does he do today? 30 minutes ago, he tweeted, who loves Pokemon. Could he be hinting at something? He posts yesterday about stamps. Today, Veve launches stamps, and he's posting today, who loves Pokemon. Now, again, he has one of the licenses with Pokemon. He's one of the biggest toy brand. He's a global toy maker with Pokemon, Fortnite, Roblox, a bunch of the other things. I just thought it was an interesting coincidence. So, Mr. Jeremy Pador, on to you. Anyway, everyone please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. Like I said, if the US government really, really wants to, because they know NFTs are the future, and they know that young people and middle-aged people and older, they all love this, they can say, hey, we might be able to pay a couple of our bills from people going and buying these NFTs. Is it a lot? No. Again, we wouldn't even be able to bail out the post office because that'd be $190 billion, but we might be able to do something fun, do something good. And this is not saying, oh, buy this just so the U.S. government gets the money. Buy it because you like it. You know, if you do. If you don't like it, then, you know, no harm, no foul. I don't know why you watched this video if you didn't like it. Anyway, guys, please comment, like, and subscribe. Comments are good for the YouTube algorithm. I will totally have Dashy in the next video. Again, something really iffy over there. It's known as the sun. All right, I love you guys. Goodbye. Meow, 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 meow.